Hello there, friends, and welcome back to Sesh Cast. My name is GLDLX. This is Sesh Cast, a cannabis podcast for cannabis sessions. And to quote the meme that I keep seeing, it's that strange period of time between Christmas and New Year's where time doesn't exist and nobody knows what day it is. But anyway, my name is GLDLX, and this is Sesh Cast. Like I said, it's just this podcast that I do where I get high and I talk about stuff. And sometimes that stuff makes sense, and often it doesn't. But I'm doing it, and I'm moving my desk because I feel like my mic is really far away, and I feel like I'm really quiet. So let me just rub all over the microphone, because that'll sound great in this audio format. Oh, boy. Anyway, hello. My brain is fried. It is the 26th of December, possibly the worst day of work all year. I don't know that I want to make that claim, but I think I'm going to make that claim. Like, I feel like the day after Christmas is kind of the worst day of the year. And it's 100% because, like, of that reason, that meme that I just quoted. Like, it's, how do you feel? Like, we have 6 days to kill before we have a holiday that exists only to be intoxicated. Like, there's no point to New Year's other than intoxication. So, like, yeah, what are you supposed to do for these 6 days? How are you supposed to feel about anything? It's just you're just here. You just exist. Yeah, I'm like so fried. I've been in 3 states in the last week, which has been awful. I have worked an insane amount, but I am on the like down. I'm finally almost done with the holidays, man, and it feels so good. So good. Because of my career, because of radio, and because of where I'm at in the radio world, the holidays are just an insane time. I work so much. I've took the weekend before Christmas off, which was a freaking godsend. I can't believe I got that weekend off, but it was great. But every day from the 24th of December through the 2nd of January, I am in the studio, which is just a lot, man. And so I'm working a lot. I'm traveling a lot. I am doing the whole Christmas thing. And it's just, gosh, it's worn me down. So I'm really exhausted, and I'm looking around my room at like the mountains of things that I have to do and that I really should do like tonight. Because like you get back from Christmas and you got all these new things and you got to find places for all the new things, which inevitably means you got to get rid of some old things. And I did a whole episode about how I'm not good at getting rid of old things. But I don't even have a bed to sleep on right now because it's just covered in stuff. I've got clean laundry on the floor. I've got dirty laundry on the floor. I've got laundry on the floor that is in the like Schrodinger state between clean and dirty, where I don't know which one it is, and as long as I don't check it, it stays as neither. I just got a lot going on right now, and I got to take care of all of it. And here I am sitting down and smoking weed for a couple of reasons. One, because I needed to record a podcast because this comes out tomorrow, and this was just going to be the best day for me to do it. But for two, like, I have been on and off of smoking a lot lately, just because I've been traveling so much. I've been spending time with family, and it's not always the easiest to smoke when you're traveling and spending time with family. So I've been on a bit of a tea break and just, taking some time to get away for a little while. And I finally got home tonight and was like, sweet, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to smoke some weed, and I'm going to mellow out, and it's going to be great. And tonight has not gone that way at all, which has been, holy smokes. But I'm going to smoke weed, and then I'll give you updates. I've rambled about me and my life now for a little over 4 minutes, so at the around 4:20 mark of this episode, it's not going to be exact, but it's going to be close. Let me go ahead and smoke this weed, and then I'll tell you what I'm smoking. So yeah, cheers, friends. Oh man, that tastes real good. I'm real into that. I picked up some grapefruit this week. Sativa, uppity, hopefully. Like I said, I got a lot to do. But it's, gosh, that's a good flavor. Very lemony, very pine sol-y. That's good. I dig that. So I'm smoking on this grapefruit today, which I just picked up this week. It was grapefruit and Skywalker OG. It was like a good trip to the store. Man, my roommate just got home, and I just heard like a bang. I hope that they are okay. Uh, all right, well, onwards. Not my problems. Excuse me. Smoking out of this Jefferson glass spoon that I finally freaking put a picture of on my Instagram this week. I'm trying to catch up with the Instagram. I'm trying to get back on it. Trying to use this weird little 6 day gap to like get back on the horse and pick up. And you know, everybody like trashes New Year's resolutions because nobody ever finishes them. But I don't see what's wrong with starting the new year off strong. I'll probably talk about this next week. I was gonna talk about it this week, but I'm just too freaking tired. Um, so I'm trying to get back on the horse and get back on Instagram real hard. And I'll probably try and post another picture of this guy this week along with the spoon from last week's episode because I just never posted a picture of that. So yeah, Instagram's a couple weeks behind. I'm really sorry. Follow me anyway if you want. I'm at Sesh Cast on there. And this piece was a gift for me from my buddy Sean, who is the guy behind the Jefferson Glass Company. Find him on Instagram at Jefferson Glass Co. 1. You can also follow him at Jefferson Glass Co. No number 1 at the end of that for his like family friendly Instagram where he blows some other cool little glass things, including these cute little turtles. And Jefferson Glass Co. 1 is his 18 plus tobacco use only Instagram. So big fan of this Ram's Horn hammer. It's very cool. I dig it a lot. And I said this a couple episodes ago, but seriously, Sean, thank you so much, man. It's amazing. Anyway, that's what I'm smoking out of. That's what I'm smoking on. There was something else I was going to talk about before I like jumped in on the episode. Oh, dag nabbit. I don't know. It's gone. I am just so stacked with things I need to do, and was really struggling to like get to the what do I want to do a podcast about, and like what can I ramble about for a while, and I was really struggling to just like pull all that together in the amount of time that I had because I just don't have a lot of time for this. I was gonna talk about why tonight has not gone the way I expected it to. So I got home later than I wanted to. I didn't have any food in my house, so I went to Cane's because like it's Cane's. Got some chicken, brought it home. Got very sick from some things that I ate at the holidays. Ate my Cane's cold, which is always a bummer. But like smoked for the first time in a while, and that was nice, and just mellowed out a little bit and enjoyed some room temperature Cane's. And then I edit for another podcast, and the biggest episode that podcast has done is on my editing table this week. And I had started it on Christmas. I put in probably 5.5 hours of editing on this thing, was about halfway done with it, had like been really, really happy with the work that I had done, and was really excited to kick it in and get it going, and was looking forward to finishing it off tomorrow. And the session file corrupted, and so now I have to start all over. Luckily, I didn't lose any content, so like I still have all of the individual audio files that I need to edit this podcast, which is huge, because like if I would have lost one of those, I would not have had that editing job anymore, I can tell you that much. But I just have to start over, which sucks, because like I said, I put in a solid 5.5 hours on that thing. So I'm sad. But I found that out tonight, and then as the holidays do, got in a little weird family tiff this weekend with a relative, and that kind of spilled out onto the Twitter sphere. And this journalist from the Wall Street Journal hit me up on Twitter tonight and was like, "You want to do an interview about your aunt unfollowing you on Twitter?" I was like, sure. So updates on that, if there are updates to come, IDK. But anyway, it's been a weird night. It's been a really weird night, and this is the last chance I have to record this episode because I want to get it out at a decent hour tomorrow and not be behind going into the new year and yada yada yada. So here I am doing this episode where I talk about, now that you've waited 10 minutes to hear what the hell this episode is actually about, where I talk about the first time I ever smoked weed. Whew. There it is. Big reveal. The curtain is dropped. I didn't give a drum roll. I'm sorry. it probably wouldn't have lived up to the drum roll anyway. The like ta da that would come normally is probably like a like, hey, the first time I smoked weed, it goes like this. I don't know if people care about that or not, but I didn't really have anything else to talk about this week, and it's kind of a funny story, so I thought I'd tell it. So I'm gonna hit this one more time, and then I will jump in with you on the story of the first time that I smoked weed. Cheers, friends. You know what this tastes like? It tastes like a grape swisher sweet. I know that's weird because I said lemon and pine salt earlier, but that second hit like gave it to me. It tastes like a grape swisher sweet. Um, or like one of the wine, like white wine game cigars, game the company of the cigar, and like the white wine flavor. It tastes like that. So the first time I smoked weed was in college, and it was maybe my most negative experience ever smoking weed. Um, maybe I it's first or second. I can tell you that much. It is one of the two worst experiences I have ever had smoking marijuana. The reefer madness got me twice, and this was the first time. So I was a freshman in college, and my college, very briefly, it did not last long, but they used to do this amazing thing called J term. And J term was this semester that only lasted 3 weeks of January. So you got Christmas off, and then you came back like a couple days after the new year, and you took a class in like 3.5 weeks, and it counted as a full class credit, and you just like used that month and got it out of the way. Or you didn't do J term because you were an idiot and you just stayed at home for a month, which did not sound like fun to me. So I did J term, and what J term is you go to class for 4 hours a day, and then you just drink the rest of the day. It is 4 hours of class, 20 hours of drinking, 0 hours of sleeping. It was nicknamed Rage Term, and it was for good reason, because it was a rager all month. It was insane. That being said, I went to a very small liberal arts school that was a dry campus, but we found our ways. And this was also back when I drank. I don't know if I've said it on the show or not before, but I don't drink anymore. I have what I would call maybe an average of a drink a month, perhaps 2 drinks a month if it's a crazy month. I just don't enjoy drinking at all. I don't really love the flavor of alcohol. I hate the effects of alcohol. I hate hangovers more than anything in the known universe. I don't drink. So this was back when I drank a lot. And it was my first semester of college going into the month between my first two real semesters of college. At the end of my first semester of college, I had, thought I had fallen in love and started dating this girl. And I did a J term class on campus. She did a J term class on the island of Belize. Like, just far AF away, completely out of phone contact, completely out of all contact. And we had started dating 3 days before she left. And so here I am, like a freshman at the biggest party week of the year, party month of the year, with a girlfriend who I can't talk to. Oh gosh, an aisle, like a country away, literally. And so I didn't want to do anything with anybody else. Like, I wanted to party with my fraternity brothers, but I didn't really want to hang out around girls. It was a weird semester. I worked out and I drank. That was all that I did. It was terrible. And then one night, one of my fraternity brothers was like, "Hey, do you still want to try smoking weed?" Now, I had never smoked weed in my life. Until I got to college, had always thought that weed was a thing that bad kids did. And no, I would never touch the devil's lettuce. I was not going to smoke weed. I wasn't going to be one of those reefer pothead burnouts. That's not me. Look at me now, Mom. Sorry. But I had never, ever been the kind of person who would smoke weed. I had started smoking, like, cigars occasionally with friends, and they were literally like Swisher Sweets that we would buy at the gas station. And I would smoke those with my friends on like Saturdays in the summer when we were hanging out at the bonfire at my friend's house. And that was it. Like, it was just not a thing that we did. One time I smoked cigars at my parents' house and got in a bunch of trouble, even though I was over 18. So that was then. This is now. I have gone to a semester of college, have learned that you can both be incredibly productive and smoke incredible amounts of weed. Um, and so I had been starting to think, and I had told some fraternity brothers, like, I think I want to try smoking weed. Like, I want to do that. I think. Um, so I was under 21 at the time, and my senior year of college got into a little bit of an incident that involved drinking and got punished severely for something that I had very little to no hand in. And that's a story for another day. But at this point in college, did not drink very much because I was scared because I had already almost had my life ruined by drinking once. So here I am in rage term, my girlfriend a country away, me bored with my fraternity brothers, and we turn up. And I drink heavily and am pretty drunk at this point, but I'm telling everyone that I'm fine and I'm not drunk because I didn't feel like I was drunk. I don't know, whatever. I was a freshman. And my fraternity brother comes up to me and goes, "Hey, did you still want to try smoking weed?" Now, this was done with no malicious intent on his side. Like, he wasn't trying to take advantage of me because I was drunk or anything like that. I had told him I was interested in smoking weed. He was one of the weed guys. Him and his friends were going to go smoke weed, and he wanted to know if I wanted to come. Like, that was all it was. Now, in this moment, I think that sober me probably would have said no. Probably would have said, well, okay, let me rephrase that. I think sober me probably would have said yes, but if sober me would have answered the question for drunk me, I would have said no, I'm too drunk to smoke weed right now. However, drunk me did not share that opinion, and drunk me was like, you know what? Yeah, I kind of do. So, away we went to experience the smoking of the ganj. And I'm going to put that story on pause so I can smoke this weed, and then I will continue on as we left the living room, or I'll give you a little bit of an update about where I'm at. So if you're smoking along with me, I hope that it's good weed, and I hope that you're getting a good buzz, and I hope that you're being productive in some way. Whatever the positive effect you need is from smoking the weed, whether it's just to chill out and have a good time, or whether it's to get some shit done. I hope that you have that effect, and I hope that goes well for you. And if you're not smoking, then that's cool with me too. I hope that things are good for you in other ways. And with that, I'm gonna smoke this weed. Cheers. So, here I am in the living room of the fraternity party house, and I'm trashed. I have been drinking this ridiculous drink that I came up with that you should not drink. It tastes delicious, but you should not drink it. That is a handle of vodka, a couple bottles of orange Propel, no, grape Propel, a handle of vodka, a couple bottles of grape Propel, and a packet of light blue Kool-Aid. And that feeling you just had in your stomach is exactly how I felt that night after I had had 3 pints of this concoction, and it was definitely mostly vodka. So I'm a wreck at this point, and my buddy is like, "Come smoke weed with me." I was like, "Okay." So I grab my pint of vodka and I head off with my buddy. Now, in this particular house that my fraternity had, we didn't really smoke weed in the house. We smoked weed in the attic of our garage. So we had a detached, like, garage shed in the backyard. It was a garage. It was used more like a shed and workshop, kind of. But it was probably like a 3 or 4 car garage, and it had, I think we had built an attic. It had like a loft attic sort of situation, and in the back of this loft attic situation, we had built ourselves a pot den, where we had taken old street signs and sides of homecoming floats that we had made and nailed them to the wall to create a separated room that we filled with disgusting couches and a couple of coffee tables and some speakers and a bunch of tapestries and weed. And that was where we smoked weed that year. That was where they smoked weed that year. So I got invited up here for this experience, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. I go up there with only my alcohols in hand and huddle down on one of these couches with my buddy. And it's January, and all we have up there are like space heaters, so we're all covered up in gross blankets, and it's cold as dick up there. And they're explaining to me like what you do, how does one smoke weed? And they handed me my first spoon pipe. It wasn't mine; it was somebody else's, but it was already loaded for me. And they like explained to me what I was doing, and they gave it to me. And there was this really nice lady. I'd love to say her name, but I'm gonna leave her out of this because I think she's a teacher now. Very nice lady who was like, she had like taught me this whole thing and was like, do you want me to light it for you? Like, I'm happy to hold the lighter for you if you need me to. It was just very sweet. Like to say that I was taught to smoke weed by the A team of smoking weed. Like, these were my 7 friends who I knew who smoked more weed than anyone else I knew. Did they smoke the most weed in the world? I'm not really sure because I was a freshman and I don't remember. But of all the people I knew who smoked weed, these like 7 people were the S tier of the potheads. So they offered me my first weeds, and I took the bowl, and I think that she lit it for me. I don't remember if I lit it or she lit it. But I thought that like one spoon pipe was like one weed, and that was what you did. Like, you did a weed. So I just blasted the whole thing, like sucked as hard as I could, and just like torched this whole bowl. And they were like, all right, like my buddy would like motion to me to take my thumb off the carb, and so I'm like and I mean, if you're here, you know what that's like. And if you don't know what that's like, just imagine in Star Wars when they go into light speed. Like, when they jump, that was how it felt. Like, just into a different dimension. And like I said, I was hammered at this point. So I go from not high to insanely high instantaneously, and everybody just kind of looks at me. And like, I coughed a little bit, but not like that much. And everybody just kind of looked at me and was like, "Yo, dude, like, are you okay? What was that?" Because nobody was mad that I'd like torched the bowl. Everybody was like, "Oh, it's his first time, like he doesn't know," but everybody was legitimately concerned. They're like, "Dude, you just did a thing. Like, are you good or nah?" So I did the thing, and very quickly went from, yeah, I'm fine, to, whoa, is this what high is like? So let me get a little higher, then I'll keep going with this story, but I want to take another hit of this weed. So I will be right back, and I'll talk to you. Cheers. This lighter is really almost dead. It's not like I don't have a whole drawer of lighters right beside me. But anyway, so I blast off into space, and everybody's like, "Yo, are you okay? Like, are you good?" And at this point, I'm like, yeah, like, I'm good. I'm so good. And we passed around maybe another bowl or two, and I took a couple more hits, but not much. So if you are someone who only smokes or only drinks, and you have never been severely crossfaded, let me tell you a little bit about what that's like. Some people, Some people I hear tell enjoy this experience. I'm not one of those people. I do not handle being crossfaded well at all. I don't handle being drunk well, let alone being drunk and dizzy. So, what I hear and what my experience is that if you smoke weed and then drink, it will go much better for you than if you drink and then smoke weed, like the beer before liquor sort of thing. Um, Smoke first, drink second. Don't drink first, then smoke second. Um, so I was super high for my first time being high ever. I was super drunk for like maybe only the second time in my life that I had been super drunk. And I am hanging out with my top 7 pothead friends as they are showing me all sorts of like trippy, ridiculous things to see when you're stoned AF for the first time. Like, if you've never been blessed by the marvelous breadfish, just YouTube breadfish. Um, and this was before Too Many Cooks, but like anything you could imagine that was like that. DHMIS, salad fingers, like just weird things, but then also like good music. There was a lot of Jack White being played that night, like Lazaretto era Jack White. Um, yeah, there's just a lot of stuff going on, and up in the with the tapestries and the lights and the hot box and all this, and I to this day don't know how long that I was up there, because when you get super duper crossfaded, often time starts to go away. Like, you can get high enough that time starts to go away. Anybody who smokes weed has done that once or twice in their life, if not every time they get high. But like, there's an actual time traveling effect when you are super crossed, because you will legitimately black out and then come back a lot. So I don't know how long I was in this like trippy pot den, being super super twisted, but to me it felt like years, just actually light years. And I was up there listening to music, watching these crazy videos, and I remember my one fraternity brother, not the one who had invited me up to smoke, but the one who probably was the biggest pothead of the bunch, um, pulled up some video about the like marijuana trade across the US Mexico border or something like that. I don't totally remember. I just remember sitting down to start watching it, and then about halfway through it sort of tripping out and thinking, how long have I been here? Like, how long have I been doing this? I don't like this anymore. The paranoia started to set in, the panic started to set in, the anxiety started to set in, and my brain went from this is an existence to this is an existence we desperately need to escape. So I looked at my buddy who had invited me up, and I was like, dude, I need to go home right now. I think I literally just looked at him and said his name, and I was like, dude, take me home. Like, it was a right now thing, and he immediately was like, yeah, dude, come on, let's go. Luckily, he lived in the dorm room directly across the hall from me. So he and I lived very close together. He knew exactly where I lived, and he was more than happy to walk me home. Now, this is when the time traveling really starts to become evident to me. Because I couldn't really figure out how long I had been in the attic of the garage. But as we were walking back, I specifically was like, we would be. I remember standing up and walking out of the garage, and then the next thing I know, I'm in the house with him getting his coat. And then the next thing I know, I'm like through the yard across the parking lot. And then the next thing I know, I'm in front of the library. And I have no recollection of getting to any of these places. It was just like, oh my gosh, I'm here now. So we are like jumping, phasing from point to point. And he gets me home, and he walks me home, and the whole way I'm like, this is too much. I'm very overwhelmed. I was very happy to be out of the overstimulus that was the attic, but holy smokes, I was so far gone. And so we get back to my dorm, and we get to like the front door, and that's where I'm going to pause this story again. I'm going to try and leave you on a little bit of a cliffhanger here. I'm going to smoke this weed, and then I'll jump back in with the rest of the story. So, 1 second. Cheers. So, we get back to my dorm, and my buddy stops me before we go into the door because it is a pretty normal time of night. I don't know, because time to me at this point was no more than a social construct. Time did not exist in the dimension that I was in. So my buddy looks at me and goes, "There are people in the lobby. There's an RA in the office. Just don't say anything. Keep your head down. Follow right behind me, and we're going straight upstairs." And I said, "Okay," because I lived on the first. There was a ground floor, and that was what you entered in on, and it was the ground floor in one corner of the building, but it was where you came in. It was the basement on the other half of the building. I lived on the floor above that. That was ground floor on one half of the building, but second floor on the other half of the building, and there was no way in to that floor. So we walk in the front door, and there are, I would say probably 10 or 11 people in a very small dorm lobby hanging out, watching a movie and talking. And I came in, and I lived in a very friendly dorm. Everybody liked to talk to each other, and everybody said hello. I waved, kept my head down, and walked straight through, into the stairway and upstairs. I got upstairs, and my buddy walks me to my room, and he's like, "All right, man, are you gonna be okay? Where are you at? What's going on?" And I was like, "I'm good. I don't have alcohol poisoning or anything like that. I needed to come home. I'm very overwhelmed. I'm good, but I'm done." And he was like, "All right, I'm right across the hall. Knock on my door if you need me. Call me if you need me. I'll be up. Let me know. I got you." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I get changed, and right before he leaves, sorry, let me go back a second. Right before he leaves, I'm like, "Hey, man, hold on a second. Are my eyes red?" And he looks at me and he goes, "Dude," and just walks away. So I go inside my room. I change, whatever. And I'm like, "All right, I'm going to go down the hall. I'm going to brush my teeth. I'm going to use the bathroom." I walk down to the bathroom. I look in the mirror, and my eyes are a color of red that up to this point in my life, I had never seen before. I was like, oh my, I am very, very, very high. So I brush my face, comb my hair, use the bathroom, go back to my room. My roommate did not ever stay in the dorms over the weekend. He was gone. He wasn't doing J-term anyway. So the room was just me. I was all on my own. I lay down, and it happens. If you have never heard of the spins before, it is the devil. Whether you get too drunk, you get too high, you get too crossed, sometimes you go too hard and you encounter the spins, which is when the whole world feels like you have been on one of those merry-go-rounds in the playground, spinning too long, and you lay down and you are stationary, but the world is spinning around you. And when you get the spins, because you're messed up, it doesn't go away. It doesn't get better. It just remains. So I lay down, and I get the spins. I get the spins bad. And I'm, tripping out. Things are not going well for me. And I'm in my room, and my bed was very high up. I learned later on in college that if you get the spins, you should lay on your back and put a foot on the ground, because it will help you stop spinning. It'll make you better. I was way too high up in the air to do that. I didn't know that. So I'm laying on my side, clutching my pillow, not really knowing what's going on, because I'm a freshman and this is my first time at all this. And I start freaking out, and that is when I realize that I am going to vomit. And it's not going to be, "Oh man, I think I might get sick." It is dude, you have limited time to prepare yourself, but you are going to vomit. Now, here's an interesting fact about me. I hate puking. I hate throwing up more than anything else in the whole world. It is my least favorite thing. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So, I know I'm going to throw up. I'm freaking out because I'm going to throw up. I'm freaking out because I'm twisted out of my mind. And instead of, going to the bathroom, because I didn't know if I should be seen in this state, I just grabbed a trash can, like my little tiny 10-gallon trash can, and put it beside my bed, laid there for maybe a minute and a half, and then just lost everything. Just wretched. Now let's go back in the story to where we talked about how much vodka I had and what exactly I was drinking. So I was drinking a mixed drink that was a handle of vodka, a couple bottles of Grape Propel, which is literally just uncarbonated flavored water. It's a sports drink, and blue Kool-Aid powder, just all fucking mixed in there. That's what I'm drinking. I've had at least 3 pints of this. And when I went upstairs to smoke, it was the only drink I had. I brought it with me. I was getting very cotton-mouthed. I continued to drink alcohol. So I've probably had about 4 pints of this doomy vodka mix that I have crafted. Well, the spin set in and I lost all of it. Every single ounce came out of my mouth and into my trash can. And it was so horrendously blue. So electric neon disgusting blue. So blue. And it was so blueberry and smelly and just not good. So I throw up. Luckily, when you throw up, you feel better. I roll over, pass out, go to bed. Now, that is pretty much where the story of my first time smoking weed ends. What comes next is the hangover. So I wake up the next day, and I specifically remember rolling over in my bed and thinking, why does my room smell like blueberries? And it's not blueberries, it's the blue raspberry that we have decided blue is. Like, we, as an American culture, have decided that the color blue has a taste. And you know that taste. It's the taste of blue lollipops. It's the taste of blue Kool-Aid. It's the taste of blue whatever else, the freezies, push pops, whatever. Like, the color blue has a taste, and we've called it blue raspberry, and that's the way my room smelled. And I was like, why? And I rolled over, saw my trash can, and was like, that is why. Now, I didn't really know what to do. Did not really want to throw out the trash can. Don't ask me why. So I cleaned out the trash can, threw it away, threw like the vomit away, disinfected the trash can, and I went over and knocked on another guy's door in the dorm who I knew was a big partier, and I handed him what was left of my bottle of vodka, Propel, and Kool-Aid, and said, please make this go away. And he said, okay. It was just like, I'm out, I'm done. And then I laid in bed for the rest of that day and regretted every decision I'd ever made. And that is the story of the first time I ever smoked weed. Which, after that story, sort of makes it interesting that here I am with a weed podcast. So let me hit this again, and then I guess I'll jump in a little bit about like the what comes next piece. So 1 second, be right back. Cheers. So, what came next was that I basically didn't smoke again my freshman year of college. Was like, nope, definitely not going to do that experience. That was a bad time. Sophomore year of college, 420 rolls around, and a bunch of my friends are leaving the house to go smoke. It's right at the end of 420. It's like their last smoke of the day. And I was like, well, I guess I'll go. And I smoked a couple of hits, and I had the stereotypical first-time smoking experience, which is typically the first time you smoke, unless you smoke an excessive amount or you get super crossed, you don't really feel much at anything. Typically, if you, like, smoke, like, the first bowl you smoke, you're not really gonna feel it. Your endocannabinoid system just has not been activated yet. You're just not receptive to the THC. It's not gonna go. The second, third time you smoke is when you start to feel it, but the first time, typically not. So that was what happened when I smoked 420 my sophomore year, and I was like, great, I've like broken myself. Like, weed either kills me or I don't feel it. Junior year was when I started smoking regularly and medically, and started looking at cannabis as a medicine as opposed to a thing that bad people did. Taught myself a lot, learned a lot from friends, um, learned a lot from the internet, and I became the pothead I am today. And that's, I guess, where the story ends. But yeah, so there's that. There's that episode. That was fun. I Let me know if you liked this kind of episode. Just a story, like as opposed to a big thing. Like this was just a story show. So if you enjoyed me just sitting here telling stories about my life, please let me know. I'll be happy to do more of these. I enjoy them. But that's that. I think next week I'll probably be back talking about the New Year's and New Year's resolution or something like that. Like I said, I'm going to try and pick it back up here in the new year. Like we're closing in on the year mark, and I sort of want to get the ball rolling back up again and just pull my life together a little bit because it's sort of fallen into shambles here over the last 6 months. So I really want to pick things back up and kind of get going again. And I'm really hopeful that that happens here in the new year. So hopefully you'll hear more from me. But the podcast will continue to come out every Thursday, as always. Follow along on wherever you get your podcast, any of your podcasty places. If you're listening to this in somewhere that is less than convenient for you, it's probably somewhere else. Feel free to check there. And if you can't find it somewhere that you want to find it, let me know and I'll be happy to put it there. I do have the Instagrams, and that's pretty much the place where I am the most. So if you want to hit me up at Sesh Cast on Instagram, DMs are always open. Always love to chat. You can email me too. I think my email is on my website, which is seshcast.libsyn.com. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's about it, guys. I think that's a podcast. Thanks for hanging out. This was fun. I'll see you again next week. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your New Year's, because I won't talk to you again. Let's see. This is the 26th. And the next episode will go up on the 3rd of January. So let me do the corny, like, I'll see you next year thing. And we're just going to, like, roll right along, man. Have a good rest of 2018. I hope your holidays were good. I'm sorry if they weren't. Mine were not the best this year, so I get it. I hope that you had a good holiday, and I hope that your next couple days are good, and I hope your New Year's is good, and we'll see you on the other side. And that's it. That's all I got. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this one more time. Yeah, and that's it. Cheers, friends. My name is GLDLX. This has been Sesh Cast. Thank you so much for listening.